Hi, I'm Kirsten Kelly. If you're enjoying these videos, please check out becoming a patron of mine. There's more information in the description of this video. I'm also working behind the scenes to bring you some great deals on some fabulous products. So if you see a card pop up during this video, click on it to check out these great deals. This video is about how your position affects the way the horses go. I was stood at the side of a show jumping ring just recently with a couple of students, and we were just looking at the way some people's horses, how they all go the same, and somebody commented and I said to them, you know, this is all about the balance of the rider. So I thought this is a good opportunity to make a video on it so that you can actually stop and analyse, have your horses always gone the same? So people always used to say to me, oh, your horses always go in that nice rhythmical quiet way. I have quite a quiet seat and I'm quite relaxed as a person, so generally my horses would have that sort of tendency to go like that. If your horses are always rushers, always throwing their heads up in the air, it could be that you always choose those type of horses, but it could be that your position is making them perform that way. So it's really good to actually go over some of your video footage or some of your photographs and really take note of what your position is doing. So Emma is going to be our guinea pig. She's going to show you some faults. I'll take your stick for you. Okay, so the first fault I want you to do is I want you to lean back behind the movement as if you're chasing the horse with your seat. So lean further back. So, perfect. Now, what that means, is that when you come around the corner, the horses generally come around the corner and then at the last minute rush towards the fence. So you can see she started to back up the moment you leant back because you're becoming so heavy in your seat that the horse hollows his back, which then makes them run away because they're uncomfortable. You can relax again now, okay? Quite often, if you sit behind the movement, you'll get that running, which will then mean after the horses run, what are you going to do with your hands to slow it down? Pull. Yep, so then if that's what's happening, you need to look at whether you are sitting aggressively with your seat around the turn. Another thing is that if you lean forward with your hands down, so quite often I'll pretend I'm the horse pulling, and what they do is they pull. And you can see how Emma perfectly showed us how the arms went straight and braced. Now as soon as you start to do that, show us again Emma, what happens is that the shoulders collapse forward and all of the rider's weight here is balancing on top of the wither. So instead of the horse being able to flow fluently over the top of the jumps in a really nice rhythm, they're more likely to chip because they're on the forehand, because instead of the rider sitting up and rebalancing them, you're leaning forward and you're sitting on the wither, and that's what you want to spring up and rock back. So some of the other habits are that you end up with your lower leg too far forward. Now, if you end up with your leg forward, then you end up with your backside. Whoops, good girl. We'll walk forward just a step. That's it. So if the leg is here, you can see that the balance, the stirrup is actually going forward of the stirrup bar instead of hanging right underneath. And then, instead of the balance being balanced between your lower leg and your seat, when you do this, it puts you further back on your seat bones. So then there is no lightness and softness. So once again, you'll get that feeling of the horse starting to pull. So if your lower leg goes forward and you're getting heavier in your seat, this is another reason why your horse will end up rushing, because he will feel you starting to brace. The other thing is that if your horse is quiet, your legs are forward, they're not anywhere near where they need to be to make the horse actually go. Finally, another habit that you need to be aware of is that when you're jumping, if you have a nice bend through your elbow, so you can see there, I know the flies are bugging you, aren't they, honey? So as the rider, if we look at this line here, it's hard because she's whinging about the bugs, but you can see how there's a straight line from your elbow through the hand to the bit. Okay, if you're a sort of rider that pulls the hands always down, the horse will always lift his head and go with his head high because he's trying to get away from that constant pressure of the mouth being pulled on. So make sure if your horses all go with that high head carriage, make sure you think about whether this flows. Because if you're jamming your elbow, your horse is going to have his head up and is going to be waving it around.